Hello and welcome. Today, we are diving into a mindset shift that is so simple, but honestly, it's so powerful it could genuinely change how you deal with, well, pretty much everything. It's called the let them theory.
So let me just ask you this. Do you ever get to the end of the day and you're just completely exhausted? Not from physical work, but from the mental gymnastics of trying to manage people and situations that are just way out of your hands. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that boss who's always hovering, or that bumper-to-bumper traffic when you're already running late. Or maybe it's that stranger on the bus who thinks everyone wants to hear their phone conversation. It could even be something closer to home, right? Like that one family member whose judgment just feels relentless. It's this constant low-grade battle, and man, is it draining.
And that feeling of being in a constant struggle, that is the battle you just can't win. Now, the woman who came up with this theory, Mel Robbins, she gets it. She knows that feeling deep in her bones. Before she was this huge motivational speaker, she was fighting battles of her own, and they were big ones. Yeah, her story really kicks off at what she calls her rock bottom. Imagine this. You're 41 years old, you're out of a job, your husband's business is on the brink of collapse, and you are staring down $800,000 of debt. She felt totally lost, anxious, and just completely crushed by it all. So it was right there, in the middle of all that chaos, that she came up with her first big idea, the 5-second rule. You've probably heard of it. It's super simple. You just count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you physically move. It was her secret weapon to launch herself past all that hesitation and self-doubt. It was how she learned to win the internal battle, the one happening right between her ears. But, and this is so important, here's what she realized. The 5-second rule is for the battle inside you. It's for you versus you. It can't, make the traffic disappear or magically change your boss's personality. For all of those external battles we fight every single day, she knew she needed a different tool in her toolbox. And where did she find the inspiration for that new tool? Well, it came from probably the last place you'd ever expect, her son's high school prom. Seriously, it's a great story. Okay, so get this picture in your head. You've got about 20 teenagers, all decked out in tuxes and dresses for prom photos. And then, out of nowhere, the sky just opens up. I'm talking a full-on downpour. And of course, nobody, not a single person, has an umbrella. So all the parents, Mel included, are starting to freak out. So, what's the kids' genius plan for their fancy prom dinner now? They all decide they're going to this tiny little taco place, a spot with maybe 4 tables total. So you have 20 kids, soaking wet in formal wear, about to swarm a fast food joint that's basically the size of a closet. You can just feel the parental anxiety going through the roof. And Mel's natural instinct just takes over. She pulls out her phone and she is frantically trying to find a proper restaurant reservation. She's trying to fix it, to manage it, to steer this runaway train to a destination that makes more sense to her. But then she just stopped. And as she watched the kids laughing and figuring it out on their own, it just clicked. What if she just let them? Let them go to the taco place. Let them have their messy, imperfect night. And in that one moment of letting go of the controls, she felt this incredible weight lift off her shoulders. That was it. That was the birth of the let them theory. Okay, so let's really break this down. What is this theory all about? It is such a simple, elegant tool for dealing with all those external things that drive us crazy on a daily basis. So, at its heart, the let them theory is a 2-step move. Step 1, you make a conscious decision to release your grip, to stop trying to control what other people say and do. And step 2, which is the real game changer, you take all of that energy you are wasting and you pour it back into the one and only thing you truly can control, yourself. All right, let's really get into this slide because this is where the magic happens. On one side, you've got let them. Let them have their opinions. Let them make their choices. Let them do their thing. All stuff that is completely outside of your control. And on the other side, let me. Let me control my reactions. Let me set my boundaries. Let me protect my peace. The whole idea is to pull your focus from out there back in here. So that micromanaging boss, let them micromanage. Let me focus on doing great work and calmly set a boundary. That judgmental relative, let them judge. Let me choose not to get sucked into the drama.
See how that works? You're not fixing them, you're empowering you.
Now, let's talk about one of the biggest ways this theory can change your life, and that's in dealing with something that holds so many of us back, that paralyzing fear of what other people will think. And Mel is super open about her own struggle with this. When she was just starting her speaking career, she was absolutely terrified to post about it online, and not for a week or two, for 2 whole years. That fear kept her stuck. This right here, this was the soundtrack playing in her head on a loop. All of these what ifs, driven by just imagining the negative things her friends or family might be thinking. It's a brutal internal monologue, isn't it? And what's so powerful about this slide is how perfectly it lays out that vicious cycle. You get an idea, you start to act on it, then the worry kicks in. So you tweak it and edit it and try to make it perfect so no one can criticize it. And by the end, you're so exhausted, you just delete the whole thing and give up. Does that sound at all familiar? And here's the thing, this fear has a real cost. It's not just in your head. For Mel, it literally meant staying in debt longer. It meant delaying the very career that was going to be her way out. She was giving the power to people's imagined opinions instead of her own actual goals. So, the big question is, how do we finally break out of that cycle? How do we take our power back? Well, that's the final and honestly, the most liberating part of this whole idea. Now, let's be really clear about something. Let them does not mean you become a cold, uncaring person who's totally selfish. Not at all. It's about drawing a healthy boundary. It's about making a decision that someone else's opinion, which you can't control anyway, is no longer going to be allowed to mess with your peace of mind, which you can control. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The ultimate goal here is to shift your focus. Stop chasing their approval and start living in a way that makes you proud of yourself. Because when you can do that, you're the one holding all the cards. You hold all the power.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Imagine all the time and energy you spend every single day worrying about and trying to fix things you simply can't control. What could you do with all that energy if you took it back for yourself? What could you build? Who could you become? Let them so you can let you. Thanks so much for listening.